Once again to the Schmidt Show here on News Radio 1029 KARN. I am your host, Brad Schmidt. Thanks for joining me this afternoon. 501-403-KARN, 501-403-5276. We'll get that out there right away. If you want to join the conversation today, be a part of the discussion, we'll be taking your calls and text messages throughout the show today. So I wanted to make sure that those who... believe it or not, I mean, I've been on the air here for 2.5 years, and that phone number hasn't changed in many, many more years than that. But I still get questions from people. What's the phone number if I want to text in or call into the show? So, there's still folks that aren't aware of that. So I want to make sure everybody has a chance to participate in the show, because it's talk radio. It's not me yell at you radio. It's not the Schmidt head in charge, doing a monologue for 4 hours. It's talk radio, because we're going to talk with each other. So we're glad you're here, and I'm glad you're a part of that. It makes the show that much more interesting, to be honest. I mean, let's face it. I can do okay for a short time, but it's good to have your interaction with us here on the show. So a lot to get to today, not just, of course, the big news that's going to very likely dominate the news cycle for the next several weeks, and that was the assassination attempt of President Trump over the weekend. More and more questions being raised about the shooter. There was a story today, I believe it was reported. I've got so many links on my list of stuff here, but it was reported, I believe it was reported by Fox News today, that the parents of the shooter had called police a few hours before the assassination attempt, said that they were concerned about his welfare. It is not clear whether or not they knew he had a rifle that allegedly was owned or was controlled by the father. There's now reports that both the dad and the son were members of a local gun club. There was reports out that the kid attempted to join a shooting team at the high school that he attended, but was rejected because he was a comically bad shot, was the quote they used. So lots of discussion there. There's one question that I hadn't heard. Apparently one of the videos that show the shooter on the roof talking about or calling his name, calling him specifically by name. I don't know if that's true. I haven't seen that video, but that is one of the questions that has now arisen. A few people have been asking, well, why did the Secret Service take Donald Trump's shoes off? I'm not sure that they took his shoes off. I believe actually Donald Trump himself answered that question and said that they hit him so hard when they, piled on top of him that it knocked his shoes off. Like, just in the chaos and commotion of it, like his shoes got knocked off. And so I don't know that they necessarily ripped his shoes off, except in that the chaos of all of it and then piling on top of him and doing their job of protecting him accidentally knocked his shoes off. So those I don't know if are legitimate questions, but one of the questions that is being raised is that this kid apparently had absolutely no social media presence. Like, he didn't have a Facebook account, he didn't have a Twitter or Instagram account and all that kind of stuff. And I honestly don't find that all that surprising. I mean, seriously, I really don't. My son is 22, and he is currently focused on building his career and growing his experience in the technology world. He works for a company that does computers and networking and technology and all of that kind of stuff. And he has very, very limited social media presence at all. He does some weightlifting, so maybe once a month he'll post something on Instagram about that. I don't believe he has a Twitter account, at least not one that I'm aware of. His Facebook account is generally non-existent. And honestly, I don't remember the last time he posted anything on Facebook. And so, maybe again, maybe he posts a little bit now and then about his weightlifting stuff. So yeah, his last post, my son, he posted oh no, he didn't post. That was somebody tagging him in a post. There's another tag of him in a post. I'm looking through his account right now. The last time he posted anything was a month ago yesterday, June 16th. And it was a short clip of him doing some weightlifting stuff. Prior to that, he hadn't posted anything personally, other people tagging him. That goes all the way back to May, somebody tagging him, more May tagging him. Before that, it was even more than a month and a half prior. So in 3 months, my son has made 2 posts on Facebook. So I don't find that surprising at all. That a kid who is allegedly some sort of a loner, who doesn't have a lot of friends and things like that, that doesn't surprise me that he wouldn't have a social media presence. Really, honestly, I think the social media presence is, honestly, it's more people my age trying to be young and cool, and then the quote unquote influencer crowd. And so the average 20-year-old, I'm not sure is as committed to social media as what the mainstream media would have you believe. So some questions easily answerable, other questions not so much. But here's the thing: as we kind of wind down the first segment here, I want to say this: I've been digging into as much of this stuff as I could find, as much as I could dig up and read about over the last couple of days. And the more videos I watch, the more information I have consumed about it. I certainly believe there are some very strange and odd unanswered questions. And as I've said and joked about many times, I love a good conspiracy theory as much as the next guy. But it's beginning to look more and more like just industrial level of incompetence by the Secret Service and whatever other agents involved in the protection detail that afternoon. Still some unanswered questions. How did this guy get so close? How did he have an easily accessible building to climb on top of to take a shot like this? Certainly some questions that are odd and I don't have a good answer for, but I'm leaning probably a little bit more in the direction of just literally, construction grade, industrial grade levels of incompetence by everyone involved in that situation on Saturday. So we'll keep an eye on it. We'll see what we find, and we'll keep digging and investigating as best we can with the information that is released, and certainly the House or the Senate or whoever's doing the investigation outside of the FBI will be good. I loved what Marjorie Taylor Greene had to say to Dan Bongino yesterday. Hey, whatever questions you want me to ask, just tell me and I'll ask them. So I didn't hear that. A friend relayed that to me, but yeah, interesting stuff there. I'm leaning more towards incompetence than malice, but doesn't mean it can't be malice. So we'll get into some of that today. I want to talk a little bit, the Trump document case being tossed out. We didn't get much into that, and it kind of got buried in the news cycle of all of the excitement of the RNC and the assassination attempt and all of that. So we'll talk a little bit about the Trump document case. Of course, I mentioned it yesterday, but we didn't get to it. The Bob Menendez conviction in New Jersey, Elon Musk supporting Donald Trump. I also want to talk a little bit about this. I found this that an article that talking about CNN basically admitting that Joe Biden's probably going to lose in a historic landslide in November. And I want to just say, don't fall for it. Do not fall for that. Do not let them make you complacent. So we'll get into that and a whole lot more. But for now, that's what you ought to know. We'll continue with the Schmidt Show next on News Radio 102.9 K.